This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm JP.
And how was your week?
It was pretty good.
Oh, dude, there was a lot of hesitation there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you just trying to remember back that far? Or?
Yeah. How was my week?
How was it? What did I do?
Yeah. Kind of a blur. I don't remember much of it.
Yeah. So my wife was in Kentucky, so I felt the same way. Like I was just running every which way.
Yeah.
You know, because her responsibilities became my responsibilities for that short amount of time.
Yeah.
And because for those of you that don't know, we run a business together or a couple businesses together. So yeah, it was fun. I got to sign payroll checks. Usually she's the signer of the payroll checks.
Okay.
I got to sign the payroll checks for the first time in a long time. So I felt really special. So
It was weird too because Monday was Veterans Day. So like I had a short week. And then, because I had Monday off, and then this week I had Thursday off because it's my so I didn't work much, but like the couple days that I did work, there was a lot going on. So I was like, and then I had, Dempsey had 3 basketball games this week.
3.
Yeah.
Holy
He had one
moly.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Oh my goodness.
So or was it, no, Monday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I was going to say it was Monday because I think Gabby went to the one on Monday.
I know for sure I saw her one day.
Yeah.
No, Monday they had it in, I think
No,
in
it was
Surgeon
Friday.
Bay. Yeah, Friday. I thought.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah. But so they really only had, and this was like their first full week back from to school. And so, yeah, they only had like a practice together as a team, pretty much.
And then they games.
Yeah. So they had a really, I mentioned it last week, they had like an hour practice last Sunday, and then they had practice on Tuesday. So like,
Dang.
yeah. And then they have 2 or 3 games. They have 2 games this week, I think.
Wow. Holy moly.
Yeah, they're just rolling.
I guess so. Who sets the schedule for that?
The schools.
Is that Gibraltar?
Yeah.
That's, man,
Yeah. They're just like, hey.
like, who needs practice?
Yeah.
You just practice on the court.
Right. Exactly.
Game time practice.
All you kids after school have free time anyway. You can probably go figure something out, go to the Y, go wherever.
Yeah.
And I almost thought about going disc golfing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Almost thought about it or almost went?
No, I was almost went. I was thinking about it. Yeah.
I was like, thanks for telling us that you almost thought about it.
No. I was thinking about it, and I forgot what day it was. I was like, oh, it's kind of nice. Mm-hmm. And then something else came up. I had to go get the girls, so I didn't have a chance to use. But yeah. So
Yeah. I have a disc golf date scheduled Tuesday morning.
ooh, disc golf date.
Disc golf date. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, got a disc golf date scheduled, and at 8 o'clock
Oh God.
in the morning in Green Bay.
Jeez.
But I'm usually down because I have like a men's group, and ours is at 6:40 or 6:45. So I'm going to be there at 6:45.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay.
in the morning, and then it's about an hour, and then I'll meet over at Shorewood, and then we'll start playing.
Right on.
So, yeah, so I'm excited about it because it will be the second time I've played Shorewood. So now that I know the course, I know what to look for. I'm not any better because I haven't played anymore. Because the last time I played was at Shorewood, but we'll see. At least I kind of know what discs to throw and kind of what they do now
Yeah.
again. So we'll see how it goes. I think I'm going to be relying on the Gorgon a bit. And then I found that the Felon is pretty handy right now for me
Okay.
because I'm not very good at my release points. So I'll just throw it right and let it come
old
back.
Felon.
The old Felon.
Is that I remember you have that yellow one.
I do have the yellow one. The yellow one has been retired, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's out of the bag. It was too straight.
Right.
It was too straight. It'd probably be perfect now.
Sure.
But I have a purple Metal Flake Lucid one right now, which used to be beefy, but it's not that beefy anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of my go-to right now. Well, it's not a go-to. I mean, I'm still throwing my Lariat's by far my go-to.
Sure.
And the Gorgon kind of backs that up. It's a little bit more flippy. And then high speed is a vanilla is what I'm throwing presently. And then assault are the two. So not assault, but
Yeah.
Salt. And then
like something.
yeah, exactly. And then speaking of salt, we're gonna do another order of Clash pretty soon here. So unfortunately we don't have our guy anymore. He doesn't like
Yeah, right.
our guy's not
I
mean he's selling, but
yeah.
he's not distributing anymore.
There's somebody not that I was playing with, they are on the card behind me at the Fall Classic, and like he whipped out it was one of the real swirly, I think it was a salt. And I was like, oh, is that one of the, real swirly? He's like, oh yeah, I throw all Clash. I was like, oh, right on.
Yeah. There's a guy, I forgot what his name is.
Johnny.
He's a Green Bay guy that throws nothing but Clash.
Yeah.
So we're gonna restock some of that here in a bit, and it's just it's harder to get a hold of now because
Right. Yeah.
now we have to have another wholesale account with a whole nother vendor now, and it's just like I don't know. It gets cumbersome, but we could always go through Infinite, but Infinite's like $1 more per disc for wholesale.
Oh, okay.
Instead of going through going through the manufacturer themselves.
Yeah.
But now that we've lost that connection, we're just gonna have to do either Infinite or Power Grip or
Sure.
something like that. I think even Eat Street is a distribution point now
Okay.
too. So we'll get a hold of one of them and we'll get some more. But in the meantime, we'll just pick them from Infinite and go from there.
Right on.
Yeah. So and this Dyer's Guild, so far so good, is set to happen.
Nice.
But I think there's a couple more people that need to sign up. Or
Okay.
else if we don't meet that 10, they're not coming. So
Oh, yeah. I did see a picture. There's a bunch of discs ready to die.
yeah,
and
we have a bunch of Dyer's discs there and everything. So, and you don't have to buy a disc there. You can bring your own. You know? So if like the Clash guy wants to bring his own Clash disc, he can bring his own Clash disc.
Yeah.
Because I think we just have the MVP and Discraft and maybe some Innova
Okay.
as the Dyers. So, but yeah, so doordisc.com is where you can buy all that stuff and sign up. And we have the links on our Facebook and Instagram page. And Instagram is door_disc_golf and night_owls_pod.
Indeed.
You have any questions or comments or topics you want us to talk about? We're coming into the off season.
Yep.
So we might need some help, or you're going to start hearing about movies and nostalgia.
It'll be like good old
The good
Mondays.
Old, the good old random Monday. What do we call them? We had a name for them.
Yeah, we did.
Mondays. I mean, was it just called the Monday episodes?
Something like that.
I swear we had a name for them.
We did.
They were random, but anyways,
They were completely random.
this one will be pretty random too. But we'll get into some disc golf, and we'll get into that first. And then once we get out of that, you guys can turn it off if you want to. But we're going to talk about good old Iron Mike and Jake
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Paul. And we have to talk about that a little bit. So,
Yeah, just Monday episodes.
it was just called Monday episodes?
Yeah.
Okay. So this will be partly a Monday episode. It is released on Monday now. We did change it. So we're
True.
on- yeah.
Yeah.
Because we used to, what was it, Monday and
Friday.
Fridays? Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And then casual relief. When Ben and
when
Michael and
And that was random.
whenever
and
they
Matt.
get that out. And Matt, whenever they get it out.
I think that is no longer a thing.
Yeah, no.
I haven't heard anything, but
No, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it's no longer a thing.
No. It would be kind of crazy if they just all of a sudden were like, hey,
Yeah, we're
gonna
back.
do something.
It would surprise me because from what I understand, one of the trio is no longer disc golfing
Yeah.
at all. So it would surprise me, but no, it wouldn't. I don't think it would.
Okay.
Like if it happened, it happened. So,
Yeah.
all right. $15 for non-PDJ members to play. Now, why did the PDJ do that? So it used to be $10. So if you didn't have a PDJ number, it was $10 for non-members to play in a
Oh, you mean
sanctioned
extra.
event. Extra.
Yeah, right.
So now it is 15 extra to play as a non-registered member in a PDJ event.
Interesting.
So I have a theory
'cause-
as a TD of why they did that.
Because I remember, well, it was always nice because like you would pay your 50, and if you played, 5 tournaments, you were basically breaking even on your
Yeah.
on your membership. It was like, hey, that's worth it.
Yep.
Although now you're not getting the disc, you're not getting the magazine anymore. You got to pay for that.
Yeah. You get an email that says, congratulations, you're renewed.
Yep.
Or you're a member.
Yeah.
You know, I think you might still get new member perks. Like you might get that first one.
Right.
But you don't really get much other than being able to play.
Right.
I don't even think you get a printed card anymore.
Right. Like they used to give you the card and a bag tag and like a what was the other thing? A dog tag or like
I got a little keychain thing.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
So I don't know. Trying to make some money, I guess. Extra a little more.
Yeah. So my theory is they realize that flex tournaments are kind of one of the main tournaments nowadays.
Okay.
And flex tournaments attract a lot of non-PDJ members.
True.
Because that is by far our largest pay or our largest non-PDJ member
Right.
show outs is in flexes. And
But they are also less money to compete in.
They are.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things. So PGA says, hey, $15 because we want it. That's a cash grab.
Yeah.
Right. And whether it's a good cash grab, a bad, I'm not debating that. It's a cash grab. They see money there. So, hey, let's do it. We need money. Right. Now, on our end, we have someone pay $20 or $25 for a flex. Now you've almost doubled the cost of that flex.
Yeah.
So you come to one of our events, you pay $25, we give you a $25 or $20 voucher to the shop. So you get basically $20 back out of your 25, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And then it's a trophy only from there. So then, the places are paid out accordingly to the divisions, or places are given trophies according to the divisions. Now it's going to cost you 45 or what? 40?
40?
$40 for that? Is it that worth it now as a non-PDJ member to go play?
Yeah, especially one round usually. Like
Yeah, it's just one round.
right,
Quick one.
like you play a C tier, you're playing 2 rounds.
Yeah. And you think you bring a carload of buddies, like
Yeah, right.
that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I mean, that basically takes your lunch away.
For sure.
Almost get a McDonald's meal for that. Yeah, you could probably get a McDonald's meal for that.
Gosh, I don't know, because that's tough, especially like if you're a non-member, to know that you're paying for one round and that's 2/3 of the cost of going to a regular tournament.
Yeah.
2 rounds usually.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a tough decision to have to make.
I think it will discourage newcomers. PDJ's role, whether they like it or not, is to grow the amateur side of the.
Yeah.
This is not growing the amateur side
No.
of the thing. So I think it's a misstep. Now, when have they raised the fees? Because they're also taking another $1 from each player at events, which is what it is. I've never seen an increase. And I was talking to one of the tournament directors who's been doing it for 20 plus years, and he doesn't even remember there ever being a raise in the PDJ fees.
Okay.
So, good for them for not raising the price on that. And in tournaments, like, hey, that really nobody sees that but the director, so it's really kind of taking just $1 away from the director. And it's not taking $1 away. It's like talking about luxury taxes, like resort taxes and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's costing the customer more, but in reality, the customer really doesn't see it. It's the lodge owners that see it. But it's never really the lodge owner's money, so it's that weird thing,
Yeah.
But it's still $1 less that those people have to spend, right? So that's kind of the same thing I see with this. I mean, it's just that much less money that they can spend somewhere else. But didn't the PDJ membership fee go down for AM players? Isn't it 45 now instead of 50? Or did it stay at 50?
Question.
Because I thought they made some, there were 3 tiers now for some reason.
Yeah. Hold on. I was just on the PDGA website, and I did actually get. It's funny because I did get an email the other day about, hey, it's time to renew. I'm like, I'm not going to renew again.
I won't get that until 26. I think I did the 3-year or the multi-year one.
Yeah. So there's the international membership is a different price for those in Canada than in the U.S.
Is it because they're paying in Canadian?
Yeah, that very well could be.
Okay.
Okay, please be advised that our membership package, Birdie and or Ace Club add-on is a pre-order. Okay, well, let's see.
They even have the cost now, or is it like?
I'm not seeing.
I swore when they did the big unveil of their new.
It could be. It's not on this.
Plans.
This is. I'm just on like a frequently asked questions. But I'll just
see if you can sign up.
Yep. All right, going there. Let's go renew now.
Yeah, so they're just making some changes. So,
Yeah.
And I think maybe by lowering the fee by $5, I swear they lowered it by $5, but nevertheless, they're making some monetary changes to how you sign up for everything. And I'm not sure what the reasoning behind it was. They tried to give you a big, like a rigmarole of
$50.
Oh, so it's still 50, and then 75 for pros.
Yep, 75 for pros.
Okay, and is there another level, another tier?
No, that's all I see.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so there's the amateur, professional, and then
And then the clubs.
right.
Okay, and then what they did is they stripped the magazine and all the little offerings that they used to give you.
So here's what it is: Birdie Club, you get your standard. It's an extra $50. Ace Club is an extra 100. Eagle Club's an extra lifetime. That's 2,000 extra 2,000.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and then with an Ace Club you get PDGA Ace Club disc, Birdie Club disc. But then you have to pay extra for like the.
Isn't it like the magazine and all that stuff?
Yeah,
you have to pay extra for.
Exactly.
Okay. I bet you that magazine will die.
I feel like I appreciated getting it, right? You get it, but like anything like tournament wise, like it's always like, it's just a recap. Like, it's, and there were some occasionally like decent articles. Like they would highlight, some states every once in a while. It'd be like, oh, here's what's great about this state in disc golf. Or there's some other stuff filled a lot with advertising, of course. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I could see it being something where they could reach out to shops and maybe continue to hard copies to shops and stuff like that, because it is nice for like in our seating area, we'll have a couple of them sitting out, you know. So it is nice to kind of have those things, but yeah, it's a cost is what it is now,
And it was never anything like, it was coming quarterly. So I wasn't like, I never knew when I knew obviously I was going to get it, and it wasn't like, oh great, I'm waiting on my PGA.
Exactly. It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, it's not like Nudie Magazine Day.
Yeah, exactly. I never had those delivered. I always had to like hide them and steal them from somewhere.
So, I remember getting a Sports Illustrated subscription like when I was younger. My dad was like, what is this? I was like, oh, that's Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. He's like, I have to look through this before you, just to make sure it's okay.
I got to make sure it's okay. Yeah. I remember I got Maxim.
Yeah.
That was borderline Playboy. Like, it was really darn close. It was as close to Playboy as you could without being pornography.
Yeah. I feel like there's a couple magazines up, like what's it, like a Stuff magazine. I think there's a couple magazines like that. FHM.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you guys so any of the younger people that never experienced a magazine rack at supermarkets and stuff, and they always had the one section that they always had a cover. They always had a blinder on them, right?
Working at Bookworld, I had to stock magazines and it was like top row, make sure nobody can get here, that kind of thing.
And as a young kid, I remember standing in front of those racks and just hoping that one of them was uncovered. You're like, oh, I can almost see the cover on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I remember that. And then you would wait and you'd see this guy come by and grab one, and you'd just be like, man, I can't wait till I'm 18.
Hey, can't you just pull one of those?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, hey, I'll buy it outside from you. No, I never actually did that either. But so yeah, there you go. I don't know how we got there from the PDGA fees. But anyways, so
because we were talking about the magazine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So there you go. So PDGA non-member fees up $5 this year. Also, when registering for a tournament, you might notice that there will be more divisions as offerings, because for every mixed division that you have to offer the equivalent FPO division. So if you have an MA40, you got to offer FA40.
Yeah.
And it has to be offered for at least 1 week after registration. And there's tierings, there's an appropriate scale for every level of tournament, but it has to be offered for at least 7 days after that tournament registration starts.
Well, because like Juliana had to play in MA4.
Yeah.
Because there was no, or no, I think she was thinking about playing in a female division.
Well,
but
there was an FPO player.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe yeah,
it was an FPO.
Okay, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, but I think she's trying to keep her AM status for now.
Yeah.
So because she's good enough to play it locally as a local FPO, she's more than good enough to play. Don't let that go to your head, Juliana, if you're listening. All right. Yep. So there you go. So equivalent FPO division. So I think I have two feelings about it. One is, oh, that's nice, but in the same regard, I'm just like, what is it doing?
I don't know.
Is it posturing? Like, is it the PDGA saying that you have to do this?
Maybe.
I think it is, because I think there's no person that knows the people better that play in their tournaments than
the TDs. Yeah, that makes sense.
Except for first-time TDs, things like that. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot of times where TDs just simply will not offer FPO divisions because they think that they're not going to be filled, right?
Yeah.
When I was running the flexes, I opened every single division up.
Sure.
And it got me in trouble a couple times, just like there's only one person in a division. But we can move them. As tournament directors, there's less than 3 people in a division, we can move it.
Yeah, right.
But we can have the people move. So with that,
because you have to offer trophies.
Yeah,
so that's like you're like, hey, I'm biting the cost of making a trophy for one person.
Yep. But you don't have to offer it if there's less than 3 players.
Right. Okay.
So, which is now in stone. Mm-hmm. Before, I just had plaques made up for every division.
Yeah.
Well, I had generic plaques made up, and I would make them out for divisions.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, if you've won a flex of ours, come get your trophies. Like, we have so many trophies, and I've reached out to so many. Well, not so many.
Oh, wow.
We probably have 7 trophies over the last couple of years. We have 7 trophies still just
that nobody's there.
Claimed. Yeah.
I'll take one.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put your name on. I'll cross some names out and put your name on it.
All right.
So there you go. And here's another thing we found out. Hot stamps are legal again.
Yes, that's what it looked like when I was looking up on.
Yeah. And I followed it up and looked on it as well. And sure enough, that is one of the allowed things.
Yeah.
And you can also wipe your stamps again.
Yep.
So you can hot stamp and wipe your stamp. So good, because we had a hot stamper.
Yeah.
We had 2 hot stampers. We basically just put them away when we heard that, because it made the discs illegal. Now they're legal again. So we're going to start hot stamping again.
Yeah. That was such a idiotic
it's
rule.
Stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Because you have the black and white people, and if you're modifying a disc, technically hot stamping a disc is modifying it from factory, right?
Yeah.
But so is putting ink on it. So is,
Yeah, right. And you have to have a unique marking on it so you can tell a disc is yours.
Exactly.
And all that.
Yeah.
And, I get it. A hot stamp, the noticeable thickness, as they say,
right,
very minimal. Like you're not.
No.
I mean, there's a couple times where I remember you guys were testing out on discs, and it was like, oh boy, we almost like.
Yeah. Melted right through it.
Yeah.
There's a couple, they're still in the shop. There's a couple where I just there's probably 15 stamps on each of the discs,
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to find it out. Like, you got to know, how long you hold it, what the temperature is, and all that stuff. And I think we've got it dialed in. And if I didn't write it down, it's lost forever. We're going to have to try it again.
Right.
Because we haven't used them in so long. But yeah, we're going to break them back out and start stamping again. So, but yeah, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like, oh, turn it on, turn it up.
Sure.
Pop, it's done. No, it's like you got to make sure the disc is in the right place. You got to have even pressure, and you got to push it. You got to give it some force too to push it in. And then when you peel the thing off, and then every foil is a little bit different.
Yeah.
As far as the temperature goes, and every plastic is a little bit different as far as the temperature goes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Ooh.
But I did get some expert advice, and someone told me that like there's a certain temperature that works on all of them. Like just set it at this temperature and just
Got
work
it.
on everything.
Sure.
Like, it might be a little deeper in DX than it will be in Lucid, you know, something like that. But so there you go. Hot
Right
stamps
on.
are legal again. So if you have a hot stamp, you can dust it off, pull it out of your closet. All right. And removing the stamp. So here's the last one that we didn't talk about last time was spotters can be officials in tournaments now. As long as you have your officials test up to date and the TD recognizes you for being a tournament official, you can make small rules calls as a spotter. So
Interesting.
pretty neat. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like having course marshals
Yeah.
almost.
Right.
So I think it's a good idea.
I think so too.
I think it's a great idea because technically spotters can't make a determination whether a disc was inbounds or out of bounds. Now they can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can say, hey, it went out of bounds here, but then it's up to the card to say it. But now as a tournament official, they can tell you whether it was in or
It
out.
went out of bounds. Yeah.
It was out. Really? Yep. I'm an official, so.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm just thinking about some of these tournaments that like Throw Panquin Holland won. Like if there was, you know, somebody that actually like marked it and like she was there, like that would have cost her the tournament. You know,
Yep.
like there's just things that you think about, like going back, it's like, wow, yeah, like that could change some things for
Yeah.
sure in history.
Well, and we've seen ones like where they're like, oh, yeah, it definitely went out of bounds. It went out of bounds over the land and then it dropped in the water. And you're like, dude, it wasn't even close to the land, you know? And I'm thinking of things like that. But benefit to the player, you know, stuff
Yep,
like that.
exactly.
Now you got someone's there. It's like, nah, it never came in bounds.
Yeah.
You know, never crossed the plane or whatever. So that's a good thing. And I think there's been quite a few times where, you know, people throw from out of bounds, hit a tree, and they're like, did it come in bounds or not? Or,
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
now you'll know. Well, hopefully they'll have that ability, but it still has to be a certified rules official, and it has to be they have to be recognized by
Right.
the
Because I mean, you do get a lot of volunteers that are just there.
just there.
So
Yep. There was a guy at Vegas, and every year we were at Vegas, he was there. And he was just a guy that he would come down for that tournament and he would come down for about 2 weeks, and he'd come down for that tournament and he was like from, I don't know, like Oregon or something.
Sure,
like that.
sure.
I forgot exactly where he was from, but I always loved to talk to him, and he was great. But he always did the island hopping hole.
oh yeah, right.
That's what he always did that one.
Yeah. I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of badging or something to let people know that your rules of like
I would hope
a
so.
spotter as a rules official, because I mean,
That's not a bad idea. I don't know if I saw anything about
right,
it though.
because like you could be someone and like say a player comes up to you and they ask you, I mean, you could tell them, but why should they believe you, or
Right.
why if you're not, you could be like, oh yeah, I totally am. Like you know, there's certain credibility there.
And I'm assuming in larger tournaments, it's going to be in the caddy book. I would assume like there will be a rules official as a spotter on this hole.
Right. That makes sense.
But you're right. Like there should be some sort of signifier that, hey, I'm actually a rules official and I am here as a rules official, not
Yeah.
as just a spotter.
Yep.
Could we go back to like the, what would they call it? Safety patrol? Like the safety
Big old
patrol
sash.
sash.
Right.
Oh, that'd be great. Give them a little badge too. Remember the little badges? Did they ever have safety patrol up here? Have we talked about this?
No, I don't think so. But I do remember, the police would have like little badges that they'd hand out to kids every once in a while, or like the
sure.
fire department or something. You know, like
Yeah.
honorary, you know, patrolman or
Yeah.
you know, firefighter for the day or whatever it is. Captain's wings. You know, like when you go on a
Yeah.
flight or something.
Oh yes, Malachi got his first pair.
Yeah.
He got to actually go in the
It's in the cockpit.
Yeah, I was like, wow. That
Nice.
was like I haven't seen that done in a long time. But then again, I haven't been a kid in a long time. It'd be really weird
Hey,
if it was like
can I
a
go?
35-year-old, you know. It'd be even weirder as a 40-something-year-old. But yeah, so so where I was, we actually had safety patrol. So like in schools, you would have, you know, a squad of safety patrol.
Okay.
And it would be anywhere from 6 to 20 kids, depending how big your school was. But they would wear like the orange, like basically sashes with a belt, and then you'd have a little badge, and that was part of your job. Like as an extracurricular, you did safety patrol.
Got it.
So there would be like in elementary, like a really important job was like monitoring the water fountains.
Oh,
so
right
nobody
on.
stayed on the water fountains too long.
Like we never had like hallway monitors or anything like
that's
that.
that's what it was really. Yeah, but I do remember standing at the water fountains, and we would count to 3.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. That's enough for me. And then-
Okay. I kind of remember like we just kind of did that in class, like as classes, like in between, we'd be like, "Hey, yeah, it's my turn." Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
come on, get off.
Yeah.
It's too much. But there would always be that kid just,
yeah,
how do you drink so much? Because he's not drinking it. He's just standing there.
yeah, right. Like you just like put your lips up to the water, and kids are like, "Come on, man!" You're like, "No."
No, I'm still drinking. And just have your lips there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then get your head pushed in the.
And then fights would break out.
Yep.
What did you do? We wouldn't get off the water fountain. What do you call it? Water fountain, drinking fountain, or
Yeah, bubbler
bubbler? Okay. It was a bubbler.
or water fountain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ours, I was water fountain, and then I was also corrected that it's not a water fountain. It's technically a drinking fountain. A water fountain's the things you see in ponds.
Makes it. Yeah. Right.
I was like, shut up. You know what I meant.
They all spit out water.
Yeah, exactly. You see that thing that you drink out of? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So up here, you would call them Kohlers now, because almost all of them are Kohlers.
True. Yeah.
Or what's the new one? The Barclays or whatever? The ones that are the bottle fillers? Or are those all Kohlers?
I don't know. I forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because they say it right on. It's like Barclay or Clay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there you go. All right. Let's get into the real stuff now.
Ding ding.
Yep. So, how over the moon are you with the very first live broadcast that Netflix ever did? So let's talk about Netflix first
Oh my god.
before we get into.
Right.
I was surprised with how large Netflix was, how horrible the quality of the picture was,
Oh my god.
and I mean when has it ever buffered? And we have a really good internet here. I've never had a Netflix buffer.
So here's the crazy thing is it for us it didn't buffer until the actual Tyson Paul fight.
Everybody's signing in to watch that.
Right. During the undercard fights, picture was grainy, and then there would be moments where if it wasn't live, like if the actual boxing, once I don't know if they like switched cameras, but like once they got into the corner, everything was perfectly fine. It was clear. But once their other cams went to like film the actual fighting, it was back to being grainy. I was just like, oh god,
It was bad. It was bad. And WWE is this week, right?
Oh, is it?
Royal Rumble, I think.
Oh,
Is it this week or next week or?
yeah, I think Thanksgiving week, whatever they
Yeah.
got going on, they got
And
some
they're
big.
doing it live on.
That's right. They're switching from Peacock to Netflix. I do remember hearing that. And the NFL is having their Christmas games
That's right.
on Netflix as well.
Yes.
So I hope they get this live thing figured out for their
Yes.
sake. I mean, I was saying it to you, but I'm like, boy, am I glad I didn't pay, like $50 or something for this fight where all I had to have was my $10.99 Netflix account ready to go and watch it.
So I do remember a fight with Tyson that lasted like 20 something seconds.
Yes.
And it was like
Somebody else was talking about this.
$79.99
Yeah.
for the pay-per-view. And I remember
I forgot what
I
fight
was
it
in
was.
Florida.
But
I
he
was
knocked,
still in high school, I think.
he knocked him out in the first round.
Yeah. And we're like, we just paid like $80 for this.
Right.
And this was back in the day when $80 was like, that was a lot of money. It was
Yeah.
a chunk of change.
Right.
And I'm like, I remember all of us just sitting around, like, because it was a bunch of us. We were in high school. I had to have been in high school.
Okay.
Because I was in Florida, or maybe it was summer in college or something like that. But I know I was sitting there. I can remember the guys I was sitting with. And we were all just like, we'd actually had the boxing gloves out and we were fighting in the backyard and stuff. And
Yeah.
then we all chipped in. There was 8 of us and we all chipped in $10. And then the mom bought it and then
Okay.
we watched it at my friend's house. And that was Who was it? It started with a K or C. Anyways, but nevertheless, I remember doing that. And if that would have happened in this fight, which I think it very well could have, I wouldn't have been as disappointed. I wouldn't have been as disappointed. So now let's talk about the fighting itself.
Okay.
Oh, are you looking to see what the fights were?
No. I was just trying to see who the guy was that got knocked out or defeated in the first round.
Second. I bet you it was mid-90s. Maybe mid to late 90s. It was like one of his last fight. No, it wasn't. No, because Holyfield was back in like 92 or 93.
So he bit Holyfield's ear in their second bout in 97.
Oh,
so it was
okay.
before that.
Yeah, so it must have been, no, maybe I was junior high. No way. No. It had to have been 97. Yeah, that would have been freshman year.
It says he beat this Henry Tillman first round of a fight.
I feel like that was the one.
Okay.
Tillman. It was like, I remember it was within, it wasn't seconds, but maybe within a minute and a half.
Yeah.
He got knocked out.
Marvis Frazier allowed him to not wait. Yeah, he beat Marvis Frazier in just 30 seconds into their 1986 fight. Wait.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he had his quickest knockout was like 8 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like he has a record for the quickest knockout in boxing history, I think. So,
anyway.
Yeah, so what do you think of the fights? So there were 4 fights on the card. Mm-hmm. Starting at 7 o'clock, there were 4 fights. Supposedly there were fights before that, but
yeah, supposedly I didn't see them, or we just tuned in at 7 to see what was going on.
So the first one, we started out with the Indian, like nationality from India, Indian champ with some YouTuber. It sounds like.
I don't remember what the deal is.
Yeah, he was an influencer of some sort.
Okay.
That was a garbage fight.
First fight I remember seeing was only 6 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 6 2-minute rounds.
Yep, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I wasn't too impressed.
No, I wasn't either. And it was the guy humped the other guy.
There's a lot of tie-ups.
Yeah. Well, no, like literally spun him around and humped him in the corner. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then the second fight was
because that one was a title fight.
That was a title fight. It was the 2 Mexican guys.
Yeah,
Barrio and
Ramos.
Numa. Oh, Ramos. That's right. Yeah. And that was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
That was a good fight. And Barrio was supposed to win. Like, no, like not even a question.
Right.
And he came close. It was a split decision. No, it was a draw.
It was a draw.
It ended up being a draw.
But while 2 judges had it, as one judge had it like quite a bit in like Barrio's favor, and then Ramos was the judge that had scored for Ramos by like 1 or 2 points, maybe a point or 2, and then the third judge was split. Yeah.
And I think it probably could have went to Ramos. Like, it was darn close.
Yeah.
Because in the later rounds, probably the last, because that was an 8 round as well, right?
Yeah, 10.
It was 10.
Maybe it was 8. I don't remember how many rounds it was, but Ramos was clearly better in the later rounds.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt. And then he kind of was 6th round. He ended up almost knocking him out.
Yep.
He had a knockdown, and
it
was a good fight. It was a really good fight. The best fight of the night was the ladies' fights, which was the third fight, which also was a titled fight, and it was like 7 belts on the line. No, it wasn't that. I think there were 2 belts.
But like looking in, it was the Irish girl. I forgot what her name was.
Taylor.
Yeah. Like her in like her corner, the dude standing behind her was just holding up the 4 belts. I was like, oh, it's like a rainbow. Like, right?
Oh, so many belts.
So many belts.
I think she held 7 belts.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She had 2 on each arm, 1 on each shoulder, and then they were holding one behind her. So I think it was 7. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And this was the second fight between them. Taylor and Serrano. And it was going good, and then all of a sudden you just they got tied up, and Ramos kind of, or not, Taylor kind of led with her head, came up, and boom, gash right above the right eye.
Blew her eye up.
Yes. Absolutely.
Crazy. And it was immediate. Like, it just opened up. Now, it was swelled a bit because she was getting punched. But as soon as, like, she hit her head, I mean, you could see it. They did a slow-mo on it. And it just, I mean, like you were peeling a banana or something. It just like, and that was
right.
It was crazy.
And they're like, oh, clearly, like, I forgot who they're asking. I think Roy Jones Jr. They're like, how's that going to affect her? Right. Well, clearly blood's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly blood's coming to the eye.
Yeah.
By the way, Roy Jones Jr. should never be an announcer ever again.
I was not impressed.
Ever again.
And then the main guy, I forgot what his name was. He sounded a lot like Joe Tessitore, who does Friday, the ESPN like Top Rank boxing.
Yes.
And that's who I thought it was at first. And then they showed him like, nope, that's not him.
No, he used to do a ton of UFC fights, and I can't remember his name, but he used to be in the UFC. He used to be the announcer for UFC for a long. Well, I don't know how if it was a long time, but I remember him, and I don't watch that much UFC.
Yeah, I don't really either.
But yeah,
and then Rosie Perez.
Yeah, and then Rosie Perez.
Yeah.
Wonder how she was the one that was picked.
That's a good question. I feel like she's got some kind of like ties to boxing somehow, but I don't know.
Well, wasn't she the girlfriend of some boxer in a movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I swear. I mean,
no, that's part of it. But I feel like she's probably like maybe fought at some point. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. Like,
no, right.
It's Rosie Perez.
Yeah,
like,
right.
But like Ronda Rousey, you know, like anybody.
Layla Ali.
Layla
like,
Ali, exactly.
Someone like, yeah.
I was, man, but yeah. Well, it was what it was. Like, I don't think she had a lot. Well, I don't think either of them had to offer much of anything.
I didn't think so either. For a couple of commentary, like you listen to like other sports and it's like they offer more insight into something. There wasn't whole lot more insight that they really went into.
It wasn't.
Like it was like, oh yeah, he came in with this, overhand right, or like, oh, that's a good flurry of punches. He should follow up with this, like talking about. Yeah, I didn't really hear a whole lot.
Needs to stop throwing 2 punch combinations. Needs to go to 3. Like I heard that so many times. And then that was in the Barrio Ramos fight.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, we get it. Like that's what you would do if you were in the ring. Like stop saying it.
Yeah. Right. But like back to the so the Taylor fight, like once Serrano's eye opened up, both women start taking a lot of punches, like later. Like there's just flurries and flurries
just nuts
of punches. And she got headbutted again and then got a point deduct. Well,
she got headbutted 4 times total.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way they called it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And but credit to her cut, man. Holy cow.
Because the second time they got headbutted and had to stop it, and
yes.
she pulled her aside. Did you see how it was like a mouth talking?
Yeah, right?
It was incredible. It was like almost hanging over her eye.
So it was crazy because Melissa was in and out of our bedroom. Dempsey and I were watching it in our living room. And she's like, I really don't want to watch this fight. But then she stood there and she's like, oh my God. Like she saw it like after.
It's like a train wreck.
Right. Yeah. And she saw the cut and she's like,
oh, it's nuts.
Well, but what's even more funny is Lulu, our youngest, comes out of the bedroom. She looks at it. She's like, wow, is that a cut? It's like, yeah. She's like, okay. And just like walks back. Or like something. She said something about blood too. And I was like, oh yeah. She's like, okay.
She just left.
Yeah.
Oh man. All your kids stayed up for it?
I mean, they didn't really watch it. Maisie was in another room doing something on her own.
But they were up that late?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Like, Gabby was like, I'm going to stay up and watch it. I'm going to stay up and watch it. Because she was like talking to all the guys at school about it.
Well, I was really surprised because Dempsey wanted to stay up and watch it. And like, he's never really watched boxing. And like, also, and then he has to watch the Jones Miocic Saturday night. And I'm like, this is really odd. But I'm guessing a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess in her school, that was all, in the same school that your son goes to. That's all they were talking about. They were saying who's going to win.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying Tyson was going to win. So, and we'll get to that fight next.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Serrano clearly won that fight. In my humble opinion.
She got robbed. I mean, she was landing way more punches, and it seemed like way more power punches
And she was more accurate, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Didn't
I think it was like
ultimately in the end, she ended up being the more accurate one as well.
yeah. I think she landed about 44. She landed like 500 and some out of 700. I forgot what the exact numbers were, but she threw like 730 punches and landed 540 or something, and the other fighter threw 500 and some and landed like 3 something. So like percentages were pretty close as far as I remember, but Serrano had the better accuracy.
Yeah. So, you look at the numbers, like the tail of the tape,
Yeah.
she won.
Right.
But for some reason, and it was unanimous to Taylor, which is surprising to me.
It was.
And it just blows my mind. But both of the ladies at the end, I should read the text that I wrote because it just came out and I was like, holy moly. I was just like, is she speaking English when Taylor started speaking? I was like, is she speaking English? And one of my friends goes, I don't know, but I think I heard something about a pot of gold and Lucky Charms.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I couldn't. I was just like, I can't even understand her. And then when Serrano, but both of the ladies were very cordial-ish to one another.
Yeah.
And then when Serrano, they started talking to Serrano, and I was like, well, absolutely, she means to headbutt me. You can see it in every fight that she's in.
And then her trainer was like, he went off on her.
Yeah.
And even during the fight, he's like, oh, she's dirty. She's like,
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy that does MMA. Shoot, I can't. The guy that was, can't think of his name. He's like a reporter.
Yeah.
He was the reporter. Anyway, Ariel Hawani.
Yeah.
That's who it is. He was like going around like talking to, and like he's like, F that. Like, like he was really animated about her fighting.
Oh, he sure was.
It was just crazy because at the end of the fight, they're all standing next to each other, and like I'm surprised something didn't break out.
I agree. Yeah, for what he was saying, I'm amazingly surprised by it. But even Serrano didn't hold back. She's like, oh yeah, she meant to do it. And she goes, but I'll fight her again. And she was all about it.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, 38 and 36. So Serrano's 36 and Taylor's 38.
Right.
These are aged women. That sounded bad, like they're cheese or something. Wine
No, but like they're up and like fighting, like for fighting.
I mean, like Bones Jones is what, 38 or something like that, and he is ancient for UFC, but he doesn't plan on stopping it either.
No,
but these girls are like, yeah, let's do it again.
Right, that's crazy,
man. So, but I think Serrano won that. She got robbed on that one. And even the announcer was like, yeah, Texas judges are known to be pretty controversial. Awesome. All right. Yeah. So then the bell rings for Jake Paul and Tyson. So Jake Paul comes out with like the Diesel brothers driving the big truck from Gas Monkey Garage.
Right. It was like a lowrider looking thing with his brother sitting in the back with Yeah,
and they were singing, what was that do 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 do.
Oh, it was the song that Tyson had in the Phil Collins song.
Yeah, that's right. From Air of the Night.
Air of the Night, yeah, from Hangover.
Yeah. And it was pretty funny, but like the whole entourage, parrot in the back, like, dove in the back.
Yeah. Well, because Tyson was known for having doves. So like, that's why.
Yeah. He was part of his like recovery.
Yes.
With doves. And so I was just like, huh. There was a lot of little things, little innuendos in that whole entry, but I was just like, this is an act, So we got up there and he did his thing around the ring, and then they bring Mike out. Mike's all alone, just walking out.
Yep.
And they did his first pan in the. I should pull up my text. They did the first pan to his face, and I was like, he looks terrified. He looks like he's terrified or sick.
Well, I mean, he hasn't fought in what, 19 years?
Yeah.
That was his last fight.
Sugar, right? No, who did he fight? It was the announcer he fought last, right? Who was doing the announcing? What was his name?
I mean, are you talking about like in between fights?
No. It was the guy actually doing the ringside announcing.
Roy Jones Jr.?
Yeah. Wasn't it Roy Jones Jr. that he fought last?
It could have been.
I think it was.
They were different weight classes.
They still fought. I know that for a fact.
Maybe it was like a
exhibition.
Okay.
Because this was his very first fight back since the Holyfield in the professional boxing realm.
Right.
So, so they come out and I'm just like, oh. And then, and we also got to talk about So one of my friends, because what I ended up doing to slow down the buffering is I just backed up like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, right.
And so I was kind of delayed. So I was getting texts from people like as we're watching this thing, or I'm getting texts from people, and all of a sudden it goes, and excuse the language, goes, nice ass shot. And I'm like, what? And then I'm watching it, and his son, Tyson's son, was interviewing him.
Oh,
And he turns around and just walks away, and I was like, shut up.
Yeah, right.
There's no way that's not staged.
Yeah, and then somebody else was like, "Yeah, we didn't need to see that." Right? Like, oh, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is so weird."
Oh, it was so good though. That was the moment of the night, I think. It was fantastic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he comes up-
2020 match against Roy Jones Jr. for division. Yeah, it was an exhibition match. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jones lost, if I remember rightly.
He might have.
Yeah. But they both got a decent payday on that one too.
Right.
So they did. What was I thinking? Oh, so they come in, and then they do their whole thing. And as soon as he comes out, I noticed how he was like bouncing on his legs, and his legs looked really bad.
Yeah.
Like almost like he was
Right.
having a hard time just balancing.
A little bit.
And and from that point, like it was probably after the first round, I kind of sank back, and I text the guys I was texting with, and I was like, you know, he's like an icon. Like he's kind of like, I mean, he's this national trophy figure. Like he's this,
Yeah, right.
like Tyson is synonymous to American boxing, right? Mm-hmm. I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
From after the first round, I honestly just kind of felt bad. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Right. Because like he came out and like he was moving kind of aggressive
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning, right? Like he kind of had control of the ring. He was in the center and Paul was moving around the outside of the ring. And
Yep.
Tyson hit him with like a pretty stiff shot. Mm-hmm. But that was the only thing. Like he threw 97 punches during the fight?
Yeah. 8 rounds.
8 rounds.
2 minutes each.
2 minutes each. But they were heavier gloves.
Yeah, 14-ounce
14-ounce gloves. But it's just crazy to me because he just stood there.
Right.
And Paul after the fight, or said, I didn't want to hurt anybody that, that's what he said.
Yeah.
He's aging and everything. But it just seemed like either his legs, like something was up with him. It was the jitters. It was something, or like he froze. Like he
Right.
just honestly, that's what it seemed like.
Yeah. And then the obvious little ticks and things like that. So
The glove biting.
yeah, so Roy Jones and then the announcer. So the announcer's like, oh, he's had a habit of biting his glove over the years. And I'm like, I don't know if I ever remember him biting his glove. I do remember him holding it real close to his face when he was boxing back in the day.
Absolutely.
I don't ever remember seeing him visually bite the glove. This was straight up like,
Yeah.
biting on the thumb.
Yeah.
And I was like, But Roy Jones Jr. and him almost like started another fight. Did you hear how aggressive they were getting with one another? Like,
No, I didn't hear that.
yeah, it's like, I don't like his this biting thing. It's weird. And the guy was like, I've seen it. And then Roy's like, I fought him, and he never did that once. And he goes, I don't want to argue with about this. I've seen it. In years past, I was like, whoa, like,
Oh my gosh.
so it was fun to watch those two, or kind of fun to watch those two
Yeah.
go back and forth. But so the one thing I got to say is watching the training videos. Now, obviously, it's not the full picture.
Yeah.
But some of the strength he had behind some of those and how he was moving, you never saw that once in the fight.
No.
Never once in the fight.
That
How
was-
Tyson was moving.
Yeah, right.
Jake, like maybe we saw a little bit out of him in the first couple rounds, but then
Yeah.
after that, you never saw all of Jake's either.
No.
Because Jake
Absolutely
is
not.
I mean, he's a YouTuber, yeah. He's a pretty good fighter. He's not a bad fighter.
He's
not-
He's good for a celebrity boxer.
yeah,
Like,
but
that's-
he's not a title. Like he's a good amateur, but
Right.
He's a good low level pro boxer.
Sure. I mean, here's what, like when he fought Fury, who is roughly the same, like 27.
Yeah.
Like that was 2 years ago. I forgot how long ago that
Yeah, it
was.
was about that. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he got it handed to him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he gave Fury like a pretty good, like some good shots. Like he went down a couple times.
Yep.
But when you're facing somebody your own age.
Yeah. Well, you could just see one was a bit more polished and the other one wasn't. And Jake was the one that wasn't.
Exactly.
It's been 2 years. He has a professional corner now. Maybe he'll get there.
I don't know. I mean, he was kind of calling out Canelo.
Yeah, well, he did that. He also called out, what's his futz? The Irish UFC guy. Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
And, so he called out a couple people.
Right. I mean, but I don't know. Like,
why does he keep picking retired old dudes?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like,
go to the ring with some real boxers.
Yeah. I mean, because they showed some like clips. Like some people showed some like slow down clips of like Jake threw this punch and it was like a super wide, over like hook, and like Tyson ducked it, and then like from that point on, it was like nothing happened.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it was scripted. Tyson was just in it to get paid.
Sure.
Clearly, when Paul did it was the end of the fight, 8th round, and he's doing the whole bowing thing and everything, for Tyson to not even like,
not even try to hit him.
Yeah. Like nothing.
You're losing.
Right.
The only way is knocking this kid out. You know? Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, I'm guessing there's a ton of money on the fight.
Oh, there had to have been. I mean, well, you think it basically shut down Netflix.
Yeah.
That has to be a ton of traffic. That has to be one of the largest watched live events.
Yeah, right. Like, who doesn't have Netflix, right?
Exactly.
And like the draw, I'm curious to see like how many subscribers watched it. Like, I'm curious for that number.
I would love to see the concurrent viewers.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning of the fight. Because I'm sure you lost viewers through the fight.
Oh, right. As soon as you started buffering. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and not even the buffering, as soon as you saw them fight.
Yeah. Right. That too.
But yeah, I was not impressed in that last bout. I wasn't impressed at all. Like, there was nothing like Jake didn't impress me. Tyson didn't impress me.
Yeah.
Honestly, Tyson, I'm kind of like,
humiliated.
What have you done to your legacy?
Yeah.
Do you think that affected his legacy? Or was it truly like, I think everybody understands, for 20 mil, like, I'll stand in a ring too.
Sure, right?
I'll stand in a ring and bite my glove. Like,
yeah. Oh, I'm just like, is it going to eat at him that he didn't have the chance to like do something? Like, like what?
Yeah. Everything seems too soft because, in my humble opinion, Jake could have put him on the mat.
Oh, probably.
Could have put him on the mat multiple times.
I feel like Mike could have put him on. Like, if he really wanted to unleash like something.
Yeah, if he just stepped out, like in the first couple rounds, if Mike just came out and pushed him to a corner and like let go on those real close, like, I think both of them had the chance to do it.
Right.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like, I respect this man. So I'll step back and say, I respect Jake for that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to blow this old man up?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
ruin that for him?
Yeah.
And he could have, especially in the end of the fight like that. He could have probably pretty easily.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He held back. But is that scripted? Is that all part of it? Is that exactly what that whole agreement was? Like, hey, we'll dance around, we'll throw a couple punches, we'll give it to it for a little bit, but we're gonna go the whole.
Because I was wondering too, as like boxing as in a whole, as a sport, what does this say about boxing? Like, I know those, like any other professional fight, definitely not. But like, you just kind of think it's like, oh, yeah, this is kind of on the length of like WWE.
Pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
Like, it's real, but at the same time, like, there is like a story kind of like woven in, and like, I mean, the setup for it was great. Like the slap at the, weigh in,
Step
like
on my toe.
Yeah, all the, the lead up to it was big, and then it just didn't produce.
No, it didn't. So, big hats off to Jake. Well, to the Paul brothers and MVP. Like, wow, they did an awesome job. And that venue was second to none.
Yeah.
And how do you fill AT&T Stadium?
I know.
Boxing.
Right.
boxing. Like the Cowboys don't even fill that stadium sometimes, you know? Like
it was funny it was funny, like immediately after, people are like, oh, Jake Paul's got more wins in AT&T Stadium than the Cowboys do this season.
Which is true.
Yep.
So, all right. So the letdown of the year, like that's a fire fest right there.
Yeah.
But man, there was a lot of money that went around in there. There had to have been because
absolutely.
to pay out $40 million to Jake and $20 million and to have it sanctioned. Mm-hmm. That was the amazing part to me, that it was an actual sanctioned bout. So now Mike Tyson's record's that much worse.
Yeah, 50-7.
Yeah. 55-7, right? No, yeah, 55. Or is it 51-7?
I don't know. I know he had 6 losses for sure, and I thought it was 50, but yeah, it's around there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, 44 of them by knockout.
Mm-hmm.
What a man. What a man. So, well, I think outside of that, any inspirational words to leave us on?
Christmas is around the corner.
Christmas is already in every single freaking store there is.
I know. It kind of depresses me that we're not even close. Well, Thanksgiving's next week, but yeah, just good one.
Yeah.
Nah, I just had that thought. Christmas is around the corner.
Christmas is around the corner.
I was going to try to follow up with something else, but I couldn't really think of anything.
No, it went out your butt.
Yeah. That wasn't me.
So, I will leave you on, if you ever get offered $20 million to box when you're old, do it.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't think anyone would ever want to watch me box. Actually, did you ever see the video of me boxing last year?
No. I don't think it. Okay.
2 1-minute rounds.
Oh, really?
I was dead by the end of both of them.
Jeez.
It was horrible. Oof. I'm like, 60 seconds? I got this. No problem.
Yeah.
So, and from the perspective of the boxer, I feel like I'm like, arms are moving fast. Like I'm looking good. Everything's like, it was like I was in slow motion.
Oh,
like I actually
man.
watched the videos and I'm like, was I really moving that slow?
Yeah.
Like I felt like things were moving so fast. And I'm just watching it going, that's embarrassing. So, yeah. But anyways, with all that being said, have a great night. Have a great day. Or a morning, whichever one you're listening to at this point. And Tortoise.com. Deuces in the toilet. Peace.